Hello, my name is George Santos, but you can call me Tony Zabrovsky, or Anthony DeVolder, or A. Zabrovsky DeVolder Santos, or George Tony Zabrovsky Terwilliger Scott Jones, I don't care. And I'm a straight shooter. As a devout Catholic, Jewish, Ukrainian, Belgian American, whose immigrant mother survived the Holocaust only to die in the horrific events of 9/11, and then again 15 years later on Long Island. I'm here to ask you to reach into your heart and donate to my 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization, which I've incorporated as a non-charitable for-profit limited liability, right here in New York, all in order to save these puppies. To tell you a little about me, growing up I followed in the footsteps of my brave Brazilian, Dutch, Ukrainian, Belgian, American mother. She worked many years as a high-power financial executive overlooking Wall Street from her offices high atop the famous World Trade Center, which back then was just a small shipping company in Queens. And it was my mother who got me my first real job doing simple, honest work, stocking the shelves at Goldman Sachs and Citigroup. As the only 12-year-old ever hired by Wall Street, it was difficult balancing my nights spent on the floors of the S&P 500 against my days awkwardly transitioning from elementary to middle school. I often found myself picked on by the other kids for being an openly gay Jew, especially on the days I left early to get to catechism. But the trials and tribulations were all worth it when my poor Jewish, rich Catholic family managed to pull enough double shifts down at the plant and liquidate some offshore holdings to travel to Israel for the Eucharist, where I was able to recite my bar mitzvah blessings before His Eminence the Rabbi Pope John Paul II, right there on the Temple Mount of the Vatican's Taj Mahal. I'll never forget how my father, Scooby-Doo, cried. And Shaggy was there. After high school, I enrolled in the Zicklin School of Business at Baruch College on the planet Altair 4, where my favorite professor and commanding officer, Captain Pike, would award me the Putak Kapla Medal of Business, Volleyball, and Finance. I graduated sulu cum loudly. But even with a totally real college degree that I definitely actually have, times were rough in New York, what with the liberals and such. And when I found out that Joe Biden had given orders for the groomers to build a homeless shelter in my city, I sold every one of the high-rises that I owned on 20th Avenue. And as I predicted, shortly thereafter, the housing markets collapsed. Thanks, Joe Biden. Finances got even tighter after the Biden bubble burst. Because of this, I was forced to join a Ponzi scheme at Harbor City Capital in my hometown of Melbourne, Florida, which is just north of JFK in Queens. But the SEC broke our scam up pretty quick, so to make ends meet, I took a job at a Dish Network call center, translating Portuguese into Yiddish, and then through to Flemish, and then back into Slavic Ukrainian. All languages I was, of course, fluent in, thanks to my family's deep roots in the South American, East Eurasian Soviet bloc in Queens. But despite these hardships, I knew that Yahweh, the Mother Mary, and all the bodhisattvas had greater plans for me. So I grabbed my bootstraps and I started to pull. For seed money, I decided my best bet was to forge the signatures of some elderly and infirm people whose checkbooks I'd stolen while my mother cleaned their homes in Brazil. This is before she became a high-power Wall Street broker. She got really into domestic servitude for a minute, as a hobby. Anyway, my stolen check scam was working out pretty good, but then Hillary sent emails to the Matrix and got the lizard people after me to try and do another Benghazi. So, I fled the country, leaving an open warrant for my arrest, which the Brazilian authorities are still trying to serve and enforce in their attempt to remunerate the actual family whom I, George Anthony Santos Zabralda DeVolder, physically robbed of real financial resources in 2008. Can you believe these, Goyim? And so I returned to my hometown of Clearwater, Florida, in Queens, now flush with startup capital for my next venture. I decided I would name my new company after my Brazilian grandmother's Flemish, Ukrainian, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant surname. And what a business this Devolder business turned out to be. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'd come into possession of a Rolodex containing the names and phone numbers of 15,000 of the world's richest and most powerful people, which I'd received from a fast-talking blue genie during my street rat days in Agrabah. Using the magical Rolodex, I made millions and millions of dollars in just a matter of months. Who knew it could be this unbelievably, as in hard to believe, easy to go from making $50,000 forging checks and working in call centers to breaking 8 digits? It's crazy, right? Here's how I did it, though. Applying the skills I picked up at Dish Network's call centers, okay? I would call these millionaires from that Rolodex that I have. You can't see it. And I would ask the millionaires if they were buying or selling a yacht. I would then somehow interject myself as an inarguably unnecessary middleman into the private transactions of the rich, thereby claiming finder's fees of $400,000 or more per sale. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, this is actually how I say I made my money, and yes, I do expect people to believe it. Please. After some months, though, wouldn't it just figure, I forgot that I'd been running a business. You hear that? I say I forgot that the business which had made me overnight miracle rich, requiring no trade skills, no expertise in any field, no college wait, no, I said I have a college. This Devolder business of mine, see, I up and forgot it existed. You got it? And also my accountant, because a business that big would probably have an accountant. He also forgot it too. Yeah. Both I and my accountant forgot that the overnight success, multi-million-dollar business that took me from lower middle class to upper 10%er in months, was a thing that we had done, that I, Anthony Zabrovsky Devolder, had done. And that's why we failed to renew our license to operate until the pesky journalists came snooping around asking questions. But honestly, by that point, it didn't much matter to me. You see, I had already moved on from wanting to run a business that makes ridiculously unfathomable amounts of money by placing phone calls. As in 2019, I got caught up in a messy divorce with my wife. Oh, did I say I was gay? Yeah. Yeah, no, I am. What are you saying, huh? A gay man can't divorce his female, cis, heterosexual wife just minutes before running for office as the only gay Republican in existence? What are you, some kind of homophobe? This is exactly the kind of oppression that my people have suffered at the hands of the Republican... Oh, shit, no, that didn't work. Let's just cut this whole section. We don't need this. Throw it away. Another reason that I forgot my multi-million-dollar business was a thing is I was depressed. See, around that time I had vividly imagined and then told other people, like it was true, that I had 4 employees in Tampa who worked for a business which also did not exist, and that these 4 imaginary men I had made up in my head had been shot to death in the Pulse nightclub massacre, which is a thing that actually did happen and actually killed 49 actual men who were actually gay. Which I am also, remember, because I said that. Right? I said, did we cut the gay thing? So to recap, I was distracted from the existence of my multi-million-dollar overnight success magic Rolodex business because I, a gay man, was busy divorcing my female wife, well dishonoring the memories of those senselessly slaughtered, both with that Tampa nightclub thing with the fags, my fellow homosexuals, gay pride, and by pretending to be a Jew descended from Holocaust survivors, despite my Catholic lineage having settled in Brazil in literally a different century, and, okay, I also spat on the graves of the 3,000 victims of 9/11 and their families by broadly insinuating that my own mother had died alongside them in a disgustingly pathetic attempt to earn sympathy votes, when in fact my mother died in the home I stuck her in on Long Island. How you doing? We almost done here? And so, you can plainly see how anyone could have gotten distracted by all that, especially if they were also constantly having to look over their shoulder for Brazilian policia who have a warrant for their arrest due to that robbery what they did with those sick people, which happened not really that long ago when you think about it. I mean it was 2008. It's not a long period of time, you know. Did I mention I'm half black? Now that you know a little bit more about me, good old honest George Tony Anthony D. Zabrovsky DeVolder Santos D. Santos of Queens, Brooklyn, South Beach, Merritt Island, Florida 90210, I hope you'll have the confidence to donate to my little animal charity, even though it does not involve animals and is not registered as a charity, and I have presently kept all monies received heretofore for my own uses. And hey, who knows, maybe someday you'll elect me to the U.S. House of Representatives, and the GOP will gut the House Ethics Committee. And then I, a Hispanic espoused son of a black man who's also a white power advocate, Ukrainian-descended Putin supporter, gay Republican, Catholic rabbinical Jew, hailing from Manhattan Island, which is in Florida north of the airport, will be paid $360,000 of American taxpayer money, and let's not overlook the free healthcare and government pension I'm gonna get, in order to represent a political party dedicated to deporting Hispanics, ignoring black history, denying gay rights, denying you the government healthcare and pension I get, and letting the nation of Ukraine, which I sometimes claim my grandparents are from, burn under the heel of an autocratic dictator while Tucker Carlson claps and laughs like a monkey banging cymbals from the comfort of a Fox News fair and balanced soundstage. And doesn't that sound fun? All right, I'll tone it down. Jeez. Thank you very much for listening. I won't take up any more of your valuable time, as I myself, Anthony George DeVolder, as I myself have plans to meet with a Russian oligarch's cousin who's offered to launder some money through my favorite Italian restaurant, which is operated by a convicted gun runner and human trafficker, by the way. And all I have to do is pledge my fealty to a foreign nation and then infiltrate the American government. I mean, that's a win-win. I don't, it's just good business. Okay, bye.
Oh, yes, good point. Good point, sir. Oh, yes, good point. Good point, sir. Oh, yes, good point.